What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Twin Elephant Brewing Company, and they're out of Chatham, New Jersey, and this is their Lil Shimmy Ye. So this is a double dry hopped American pale ale that comes in at 5.8% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. I don't know exactly how old this can is because it does not have a can-on date. However, I do know that it is relatively fresh, and that's because here in New York State, we are now getting distribution of Twin Elephant, which is really awesome because I first heard about them and this beer specifically back in, I think it was around like 2018. A very good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, Matt, over at Massive Beers, I remember him reviewing this one from a growler when they first opened up, and he really enjoyed it. And him, along with some other folks in the New Jersey area, really speak highly about Twin Elephant. I've had one beer from them that I reviewed on the channel many years ago. However, because they got distro into New York State recently, my favorite local bottle shop of choice, Brewed and Bottled in Lewiston, New York, shout out to Chris over there, he got, I think it was like 4 or 5 beers on a tap, and then he had 4 or 5 cans of their beer recently. I went to his shop and I sampled everything that he had on draft, and my favorite was their stash, the Citra and Mosaic variant. It was a West Coast Pilsner that could honestly go toe-to-toe with some of the heavy hitters out in California, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic beer. However, this was the only one they didn't have on tap, so I thought I would bring home a can and review it. So, double dry hopped American Pale Ale. I know it's hazy, so American Pale Ale, sure, but it's more of a hazy. And I love that they list the malt, hops, and yeast here on the side. It says Pale, Pilsner, Munich, and Oats for the malt, Citra, Mosaic, and Belma for the hops, and then English ale yeast, probably a London Ale 3 or something similar. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Also, shout out to the co-owner of Twin Elephant, Tim Biesecker. I've been chatting with him on and off over the past 6 months. Really excited that he's in New York State finally, and it's awesome to see. I love when like smaller breweries enter the state and I get a chance to try them out. I'm super stoked about it. So anyway, looking forward to this one. I love trying and reviewing sub 6% pale ales and IPAs because I'm in my phase where I like lower ABV hop forward beers at this point, and I would say that I'm really looking forward to giving this one a go. So do a somewhat of a heavy pour, try to get a decent head here if we can. Do something like that. It's looking beautiful already. Nice. And I love the name, the label. I'm imagining, and based on everything I'm seeing here with the artwork, this has to be a shout out to Wu-Tang Clan and the Wu-Tang Clan and Old Dirty Bastard, aka ODB. Baby, I like it raw. I have to imagine. Anyway, yeah, that looks like your typical, whatever you guys want to call it. Hop custard, hop cum, someone poured milk into OJ, that really light, chicken gravy, chicken stock, turkey gravy. You've heard it all, even on my channel. Has 2 fingers of this bright white, really, really fluffy looking head. Some bigger bubbles mixed in, but it looks very creamy, almost like a marshmallow, like if you had like a hot chocolate with marshmallows in it, and sometimes it forms the nice like thin head at the top. It's like that, but like 2 fingers. You can't see through it, murky, turbid. It looks beautiful. I mean, it kind of plays the role of what you're looking for, I think, in like a hazy pale ale. Now, the only issue I have with this, and Tim, if you watch this, it says American Pale Ale. Now listen, is this American Pale Ale? Sure. It's from American Brewery. It's a Pale Ale, it's American Pale Ale. I think nowadays with you having hazy IPAs, some places saying, or let's just say hazy hop forward beer, some places say New England style, some will specify West Coast, American. If I was to buy this just like blindly, not knowing anything, I would think a clear American Pale Ale. That's what I'd be thinking. However, I know Twin Elephant, I knew this would be hazy. So that'd be my only critique, is this should be called like a double dry hopped hazy pale ale, but who am I? Just some random fucking idiot on YouTube reviewing beer very poorly. Anyway, let's get a nose. Oh, real nice. Ooh, I like that. So I think this is like their flagship beer, and by flagship, I mean, I don't know if they truly have a flagship, but I do know this is the most checked in beer on Untapped from them by a significant margin. I think it's like the next closest like 5 to 800 less check-ins, and they don't have a ton of check-ins for, I mean, again, a smaller brewery. So I think like this has like 3,600 check-ins or something like that. So I just feel like this is a beer they release quite frequently, maybe rotating. Maybe not necessarily flagship, but maybe rotating. So this is one of those beers where, and I rarely get it, I can smell the oats in here. Like it has that oaty kind of, the malt's nice. It has, because it's lower ABV, I get a little bit of like an oatiness to it, like an oatmeal. A nice bready kind of perceived sweetness from the malt character. But then after that, waves for me of 100% grapefruit, orange, pineapple, and peach. I was going to say mango, but I think it's more peach. Yeah, it almost gives me like a slight like peach gummy ring, maybe like a peach creamsicle. There's a little bit of like a touch of vanilla in here. There's a slight like dank herbaceousness hanging around. This smells pretty damn fresh. Like I said, I don't know how old it is, but another critique to him, I would love to see, a canned on day. But again, smaller breweries like that, a lot of them either can't afford, the canned on, the canning system that, actually you can date it and whatnot. Or a lot of times it's just like breweries just don't do it. But I would love to see a date on this, because if I say I didn't shop at Brewed and Bottled all the time and I was just randomly here and I was like, oh, I'm going to see this, I wouldn't know how old it is. And that'd be kind of a bummer. Now, smelling it, it obviously smells super fresh. Yeah, really nice. Dare I say boisterous for something that's sub 6%. Smells more of like almost an IPA, like a 6.5%, 7% hazy IPA. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I could house cans of this. If you're somebody who likes lower ABV, hazy hop forward beer that has nice flavors, beautiful mouthfeel, and is easy to drink, you need to seek this out. Especially if you're in the Mid-Atlantic, we'll say East Coast / New England region. If you can get Twin Elephant stuff, this is a good like fridge beer to have. Throw it in your fridge. If you're in the mood for something that has some hop character, little lower ABV, and you're in the mood for a hazy, like this would be great. Body's impressive for 5.8%. This is like higher side of medium. It's not like super thick and over the top, but for 5.8%, it has more heft than I anticipated, which is really nice, because a lot of sub 6% IPAs and hop forward beers and pale ales and shit, they can be a little bit watery and thin. This is not. The mouthfeel is spectacular. Mouthfeel to me is the hero of this beer, but also is the best part of this beer, because it's so awesome to drink this just for the body and mouthfeel alone. And I haven't said that in a while for any of my hop forward reviews, but this is one of those beers, body and mouthfeel alone, I would love to drink. There's a dog outside. It has a beautiful, softer than anticipated mouthfeel. It's more like mild to moderately carbonated, very smooth and infinitely creamy going down. Spectacular body mouthfeel. The taste, it's the nose, but a little bit more subtle nuance, not as intense as it was in the nose. Aromatically speaking, it was really nice, and that is all carried over the taste, but just a little bit lighter on the palate. So up front, again, I get a little bit of that oaty, kind of the touch of that wheat, and just like a breadiness, like almost a wheat bread, like an oated wheat bread. That's kind of what I'm getting. Hits me at the forefront, dives underneath the palate, omnipresent the entire way, never steps in the way of all the good hop character. It just kind of hits at the forefront. Right after that, though, I'm getting sweeter orange, a little bit of orange peel, some ruby red grapefruit, sweeter grapefruit. Midway through the palate, whereas the pineapple hits, there's a touch of like, and I wasn't getting this in the nose, but there's a little bit of touch of like a melon, like a honeydew melon, more closer to the rind. Maybe you could say even watermelon. Hope that you got that. That I don't think that's like a dirt bike or something. What the fuck was that? I have to feel the Belma is influencing that melon note. So a little bit of like a nondescript red berry. Mosaic is here. I really think the Citra shining with the accentuation of the Belma and Mosaic hops. Again, pineapple, mixed berry, melon, a little bit of peach. The stone fruit isn't as heavy in the taste, honestly. It was more stone fruit in the nose and with less tropical, and in the taste is more tropical with less stone fruit. On the finish, this finishes with this nice earthy, slightly dank and herbaceous kind of finish. It's not real big, though. There's not like a real big dank herbaceous character like a lot of times these can have. It's just more of a subtle kind of a feeling. This is firmly dry, really dry on the back of the palate. Not bone dry, but firmly dry with a mild bitterness. Because it's a pale ale, I didn't expect the bitterness to be that high, so a mild bitterness with a firm, dry finish really does balance this one out. Lean, slightly sweet, like 55-45 sweetness to dryness. I'm okay with it. It definitely dries out the palate, though, which is nice. The glass lacing is fucking awesome, as you can see. Awesome glass lacing. And just a really nice beer to drink. I'm on board with this one. Just got like that last sip. I just got a nice pop of like a lemon, like almost like a lemonade vibe. That was kind of wild. Go back in for another sip here because I was thinking about a score here. Yeah, this is an easy drinking, really tasty, highly enjoyable, double dry hopped American, aka hazy pale ale. Really nice from the name of it to the label art. I love the whole theme of this one, and then the beer is good on top of it. Like, yeah, this is nice. I'm not losing my shit here. I'm not going to be like, oh, this is the best fucking pale ale I've ever had in my life, hands down. It's really nice, though. As far as like a hazy pale ale, it's up there. It's probably in like my top 10. Off the top of my head, probably in my top 10. Really good beer. I enjoy it. So Lil Shimmy Ye from Twin Elephant. We are going to give this a very solid low 4.25 and go 4.2. This is really nice stuff, and I recommend you guys try this one out if you can get your hands on it. If you're in New York State, we do get distro of their beer now. I believe One Stop Brew Shop is bringing them in. Like I said, I was talking to Tim over the past 6 months, and he was really excited to get into New York State. He asked me about the One Stop guys, and I said they're awesome. If you go through them, they bring in a lot of smaller hype breweries and good breweries, and now they brought in Twin Elephant, and I'm super happy about it. So yeah, really awesome that they are now here in New York State. Price point availability, I looked on their website, $16.88 for a 4-pack, so that's $4.22 a can. For a 5.8% hazy, double dry hopped pale ale that's 4.2 out of 5, I'm all right with it. You might say, yeah, it should be like 14, 15 bucks. And I couldn't argue that, but you know, breweries got to make their money, especially smaller breweries. So almost $17 for a 4-pack. I've seen much worse, so it is what it is. I think I paid $5 for this can, or maybe like $5.50 at Chris's. Of course, when you distro and you have distributors, and then you got bottle shops that all got to make their money. So if this is $4.22 a can at the brewery, and I'm paying say $1 more, I'm all right with that. Totally okay. Availability, like I said, is Twin Elephant. I really don't know other than they are here in New York State. Obviously, they're in New Jersey, and they make a decent amount of beers as well. So if you ever see that stash, Citra and Mosaic, West Coast Pilsner, please, for the love of God, give it a go if you like West Coast Pilsners. Like I said, toe-to-toe with any of the big boys from California. I gave it like a 4.5 or like a 4.55 on Untapped. I think it's a fantastic West Coast Pilsner, hands down. So, but this isn't too shabby, especially for a hazy double dry hop pale ale. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. 5.8%, I can't tell. And yeah, like I said, outside of maybe having a canned on date, and maybe calling this a hazy pale ale, really no beefs with this beer. I love that they put the malt, the hops, and the yeast on the can. More information is good, but I just would like to see a canned on date so I know how fresh this is when I do buy it. But knowing that it showed up fresh, at least I know this one is quite fresh. So hopefully, Tim, you and Twin Elephant do great in New York State. I'm really pulling for you guys. I hope you do some really good business here and you consistently distro to New York State, because of the handful of beers I've had. Now, like I said, I reviewed one other beer from them on the channel, but I've had other beers on tap. I've had a couple that I've had, offline in the past as well. I think they make damn good beer. So anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.